Hello and welcome on Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the Cupra Born. It's the fourth brand out of the Volkswagen group that is using the MEB platform. We have the very rational ID3 and ID4 from Volkswagen. We have the practical Enyaq from Skoda and the premium Q4 e-tron from Audi. Now Cupra, the new sister brand of Seat, is adding some passion and some sportiness. It's not the biggest, not the most rational car in the family, but for sure the most sexy one. If it's also a good one and what to expect from that vehicle that will be due to the market later that year in autumn, if you want to know that, join me on my first walk around and I'll tell you more about it. The interior looks pretty familiar on the one hand and totally new on the other hand, because it is all out of the MEB, so same components but newly arranged. We have the small digital cluster instrument with the gear lever at the side, like we know it from the ID models. We have that standalone touchscreen with the slider bar underneath, as we know it from the ID models. And we have a unique Cupra steering wheel with the sensor fields like Volkswagen, but with two buttons that are exclusive for Cupra. And I'll tell you in a second what they're used for. The car is powered with three different engine derivatives. We have a 150 horsepower motor, we have a 204 horsepower motor, and we have an e-boost functionality. If you order that, you'll get 231 horsepower. And we have three battery types: 45 kilowatt hours, 58 kilowatt hours, 77 kilowatt hours, which translates to a WLTP range of 540 kilometers. Talking about numbers, that's also a difference to the Volkswagen cars. The base model is limited to 160 kilometers per hour, but since Cupra is the more sportier brand, the top models go up to 180 kilometers per hour without buying the GTX model that Volkswagen just introduced. As I told you, there is a unique button only in the Cupra steering wheel, and that is to use the e-boost. Like in a Formula E race car, you can push the button and you get a bit more than 10% power increase for a limited amount of time. If you want to take over or if you want to accelerate at a traffic light, that is the button to push for. The seating position in the Cupra Born is also different compared to the other MEB models of Volkswagen, Audi or Skoda. Since Cupra is the sportiest brand in this quartet, they have chosen to install special bucket seats. You still sit a bit higher above the ground due to the battery in the floor, but the driving command position is more engaging. And you have the high-raised center console. Not as good for the roominess, but you can lean against and you got some support while going through sharp and fast corners. Also, like in every electrical vehicle, Seat and Cupra have taken really care about the materials they use. Leather is bare, it's not green washed anymore, so they're using plastic fibers made from the dirt and the rubbish they collect at the beach of Barcelona, or artificial leather like here in the top model. Beauty comes with a price, and you realize that once you sit on the back seat. While all the other MEB models of the Volkswagen Group are very roomy and very light, the Born is pretty narrow, and since it's all in dark colors, it's even more caged and boxed in. Great for the driver, not as good for the passengers, especially in the second row. The car is about 4.30 meters in length, a little less than the Formentor, and most of all it is 2 fingers lower than the other MEB models. Means it looks sleeker, it looks sportier, it has a less drag coefficient, but it is not as roomy. At least no complaints with the trunk. 385 liters, that's exactly what you can imagine comparing it with a Volkswagen Golf. Thanks for joining me on that first walk around with the new Cupra Born, a car that definitely adds some passion and sexiness to the growing fleet of Volkswagen Group's MEB models. A car that makes me keen to drive it, and I can't wait to tell you more how this car feels once it's on the road later that year.